During the video conference, the boss suddenly had a cat jump onto his lap. Every pair of eyes in the meeting instantly turned toward me. This particular feline had been peacefully napping in my camera frame just moments earlier. As I struggled to explain, the boss patted the cat's rear and said, "Go find your mom, sweetheart." I wanted to die right then. Here's the truth, my living arrangement with John happened completely by accident. As a newly promoted assistant in his company's project department, I barely registered on his radar. But I had a side hustle: professional pet sitting. It started on an ordinary weekend. I accepted a gig through the app and arrived at the client's home with my grooming kit. Midway through bathing the Persian cat, I heard the front door open. Turning around, I found myself face to face with John, who'd just returned from a business trip. My entire body turned to stone. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine my side job would lead me to my CEO's home. Fighting panic, I focused on blow-drying the cat while repeating mental mantras. He doesn't know me. He definitely doesn't remember me. The moment I turned off the dryer, John approached. Backlit by afternoon sunlight in his cashmere loungewear, he looked like a Greek god carved from golden marble. Not that I could appreciate it properly while desperately using my hair as a face shield. "Were you the one who came previously?" His baritone voice made my knees weak. I nodded mutely, silently cursing myself for not recognizing his penthouse sooner. "Good work." He paused. "Interested in a long-term arrangement?" "Excuse me?" "The cat's challenging." He hesitated before continuing. "I need live-in help." "Name your price." "You mean like a live-in nanny?" His chuckle vibrated through my bones. "If that's how you want to phrase it. But I have a regular job." I protested weakly. "I'm aware." His gaze sharpened. "You're Ethan's assistant in project development. Ivy, correct?" Hearing my name in that velvet voice felt like being struck by lightning. "Work days at the office. Nights here. No conflict." His tone shifted subtly. Though I should mention, company policy strictly prohibits unauthorized secondary employment. The unspoken thread hung between us. My freshly promoted position versus this absurd proposition. "Accept. And we'll consider this matter closed." Trapped. I agreed. That's how I became roommates with John. Well, technically with his cat Machi. According to John, the temperamental Persian hates humans, yowls nightly, and scratches anything within paw range. The words fell heavily at the end. Clearly there was deep-seated resentment. I inexplicably wanted to laugh, reminded of an amusing incident during my internship. For a period, John's neck and forearms always bore ambiguous scratch marks. Given his status and perpetually stern, ascetic demeanor, this sudden whiff of scandal drove the office into frenzied speculation. Some insisted John's girlfriend was marking territory to ward off office admirers. Others marveled at his stamina, partying every night yet still working past midnight. The gossip mill churned relentlessly. Turned out it was just cat scratches. Suppressing laughter, John announced, "I have a video conference tonight. Your responsibility is to keep him behaved." I nodded solemnly, accepting this sacred duty. What could go wrong? At 7:55 p.m., my mentor Ethan messaged, 8 p.m. join this conference. Fought hard for this audit opportunity. Pay attention. Staring at the meeting ID, then at the peacefully napping cat sprawled across my desk. I wanted to cry. Who knew my side hustle would collide with my day job? Crouching in the farthest corner from Chestnut, I clicked join meeting. The host began introductions, only for a yawning Tabby to saunter into frame. Tail held high. 30 executives froze as the cat settled front and center, flopped dramatically, and resumed napping. "Apologies. I'll remove him immediately," I stammered. John's voice cut through, "Let him stay. When the CEO endorses feline participation." Others quickly cooed about workplace wellness and stress relief. For 10 agonizing minutes, I oscillated between monitoring the cat and pretending to take notes. Just as I relaxed, Ethan launched into his presentation, scrambling to document every word. I didn't notice the new development until Ethan's speech faltered. There, in John's pristine home office feed, lounged another tabby, this time curled possessively in the CEO's lap. 30 heads swiveled to my camera. The empty spot where Chestnut had slept screamed betrayal. Before I could explain, the cat stretched luxuriously in John's arms, mewing twice. My stomach dropped as John instinctively patted its rump and murmured, "Go find mommy. Just kill me now." The silence could have crystallized nitrogen. 2 department heads who'd previously blocked my promotions suddenly found their shoes fascinating. John continued discussing Q3 projections as if hosting a feline pajama party. At 9:07 p.m., Chestnut reappeared in my frame, leaving orange fur on Ethan's presentation notes. John wrapped up with, "Let's revisit the McKinsey report. And someone get that cat a LinkedIn account." The meeting ended. My phone lit up with 23 Slack notifications. I no longer needed to wonder why John kept allergy medication in his top desk drawer. I silently lowered my head, unable to see how this situation could possibly be resolved. There was simply no way out. Those knowing stares screamed it plainly, "So you're Ivy, the mother of John's cat." I sighed. Turns out that sigh was premature. Because Chestnut, obedient to John's words, had scampered back from his study to my room. The blue-gray British Shorthair now lounged at my feet, wide crystalline eyes gazing up at me adoringly. My mind went blank momentarily. When clarity returned, one thought crystallized: this cat could not appear on camera again. Otherwise, no amount of explaining could clear my name. As I strategized ways to shoo it away, John's newly alert voice cut through, "Where's your cat?" I forced a stiff smile at the webcam. "She found a new napping spot." "Aw," he responded absently, adding, "Looks quite similar to mine." That single sentence dissipated the meeting's lingering tension. Ethan was first to recover, clearing his throat. "John, should I resume where?" John leaned back in his chair, assuming his characteristic commanding posture. "Proceed." Chestnut stayed out of frame for the remainder of the meeting, alternating between playing and napping at my feet while my anxiety lasted until the final minute. When the camera light died, I exhaled deeply. My shirt clung to sweat-dampened skin, glaring at the oblivious cat. I flicked its forehead. "You're sleeping alone tonight." After showering, I returned Chestnut to its bedroom, larger than mine, only to nearly collide with John fetching water. Fresh from his shower, damp hair dripped droplets that traced his striking features before disappearing beneath his collar, hinting at defined pectorals. I pressed my lips together, awkwardness thickening the air. He seemed equally affected, compulsively sipping until his glass nearly emptied. Suddenly remembering my dual failure, both main job and cat sitting, I blurted, "Sorry, John. I didn't watch her closely enough." He startled before responding, "No harm done. Shared responsibility." As if anticipating misunderstanding, he added, "Habitual phrasing. Don't read into it." He meant that go find mommy endearment. I shook my head. "I don't." John's insistence on labeling me as Chestnut's mother traced back to the pet behaviorist's comment during our contract signing. That day, alongside John, the lawyer, and me, sat the specialist assessing Chestnut's mental health. Simply put, John wanted to curb the cat's bad habits, excessive meowing and scratching, to transform it into an affectionate companion. This mission became my responsibility, with substantial bonuses attached. The expert advised earnestly, long-term emotional neglect and insecure environments do cause behavioral issues. But consistent maternal care can help. I believe Chestnut will eventually appreciate your and John's efforts. I suspect John only registered maternal that day. Henceforth, he anointed me as Chestnut's mother. Whenever the cat disturbed his work, he'd pat its rump and coo, Go find mommy. The soul-saving grace was John's refusal to claim paternal status. Otherwise, this household's dynamics would have become truly bizarre. The morning after that disastrous video conference, early in the morning, I was summoned to the office by my mentor Ethan. Uncharacteristically awkward. He hesitated before asking, "Last night? That cat, you and John, you." I forced a laugh and intercepted. "I never imagined my cat would look so similar to John's. Are you sure it's not the same one?" He chuckled nervously. Several people came asking what it's like to have John's wife as my apprentice. I replied quietly, "They're mistaken. John himself said they just look alike." "Good." He sighed, then immediately grew suspicious again. "Swear on our master-apprentice bond, are you truly unrelated to John?" "Completely unrelated," I answered truthfully. When he remained doubtful, I suggested, "Perhaps Master could help clarify? The title of John's wife is too heavy for me to bear." He finally nodded. I left the office feeling lighter, enjoying peaceful hours until clock out. On the subway, my cousin Emily texted, "Haven't seen you taking pet-sitting jobs lately?" Emily founded the pet care platform where I occasionally relieve stress by cat-sitting, having developed regular clients during my free time. John used to be one of them. Emily's next message arrived, "Mrs. Wong filed a complaint about substitute sitters." I gasped. How'd she know? "Security cameras." "Dummy," she replied. This revelation sparked new suspicion. John's home also had cameras. Had he seen me during previous visits? If he knew it was me yet still requested my services, was he gathering leverage to make me his live-in caretaker? As Emily's messages kept coming, I shared my theory. She responded exasperated. "Can't you see? The man's obviously into you. Don't be absurd." I protested. After a prolonged silence, she replied, "Just Googled him. Solid credentials. Go for it. But do help train new sitters when you can," she added, relenting for old time's sake. I agreed. Surprisingly, when discussing part-time work with John later, he readily consented. "Leave the Wilson family's cat to me," he said magnanimously. "You have my word." I went to help Emily train the new hires without any worries. Leading the new employee to the client's residence, I instructed him to document each employer's preferences and habits meticulously, adhere strictly to platform requirements, and carefully note all necessary precautions. The afternoon passed in a flurry of activity. Just as I began demonstrating feline fur maintenance techniques, John called. For the first time, his normally steady voice carried urgency. "How much longer?" "About an hour." "Why?" "Chestnut won't stop yowling." The line quieted, revealing the cat's increasingly distressed cries. I suggested, "Try giving her favorite freeze-dried treats or gently rubbing her belly while holding her." She scratched me. Now both human and feline whimpers echoed through the receiver. After a beat of silence, I turned to the trainee. "Can you handle the rest?" At his nod, I hurried home. The scene greeting me showed perfect domestic harmony except for 2 fresh claw marks adorning John's neck. Choking back laughter, I apologized. "I shouldn't have taken extra jobs. Our contract explicitly required my presence whenever the cat needed care, and John's compensation already far exceeded market rates." John shrugged with forced nonchalance. "I share the blame." His attempt at dignified composure reminded me of that pitiful "she scratched me" from earlier. How endearingly human he became in these moments. When I reiterated, "No more side gigs," he simply asked, "Will this affect Emily's work?" "Not at all. I'll explain it to her." Little did I know workplace hazards extended beyond freelance assignments. That weekend, our project team got summoned for emergency overtime due to critical errors. As the junior staffer assisting Ethan, I had no escape. Midway through our crisis management session, Two arrivals interrupted afternoon tea deliveries and John standing at the office entrance with a conspicuous pet carrier. "My treat," he announced, triggering cheers. As he bent to tie his shoe, the carrier's unlatched door released Chestnut. The Wilson family's feline ambassador made her grand debut, sauntering down the central aisle like a runway model. My mounting horror peaked when she leaped onto my lap, nuzzling my waist affectionately. The office plunged into stunned silence. Every eye darted between the purring cat in my arms and John's carefully neutral expression. Even the coffee cart attendant froze mid-pour. Absolute mortification. The gazes in the office kept circling. John seemed to finally notice something amiss, uttering in surprise, "Where's my cat?" I rose trembling from my seat, awkwardly confessing, reporting to the general manager, "It's with me." John strode over wearing an exasperated smile. "This troublemaker keeps wandering off. Last time, it nearly got lost and took me hours to find." He chided while colleagues chuckled knowingly. As I handed over the squirming feline, Chestnut craned its neck to gaze mournfully at me like an abandoned kitten. "Seems quite taken with you," John remarked. "Must resemble my own cat," I offered weakly. The office air thickened with unspoken tension after his departure. Even if co-workers bought John's explanation, I certainly didn't. My mentor Ethan's probing stare now held undisguised suspicion. Biting my lip, I finally messaged John, "Why did you bring it here?" His reply came instantly, "It insisted on seeing you. Couldn't stop it. Ridiculous. Since when do humans obey cats?" Another message popped up, "Been restless at home." I was typing "Didn't I teach you how to" when a video arrived. The footage showed the blue-white feline ricocheting between leather couches and mahogany desks in his monochrome office, blurring into streaks of motion. John's sigh closed the clip, "It's acting up again." After a prolonged silence, his plea arrived, "Could you come soothe it? Just for a while?" Ethan waved off my hesitant request, "Take all the time you need. Skip overtime too." The sole silver lining of this fiasco? My office admirers stopped pursuing me. Previously, rejecting flowers and lunch invites from co-workers had been awkward. Now, the rampant rumors about John and me granted unexpected peace. National Day holiday arrived. Though my main and side gigs both involved working for John, I requested time off to visit family. "No problem this time," he vowed, newly confident in cat care skills after my training. True to his word, John sent thrice daily videos during my absence, Chestnut eating, sleeping, even using the litter box. Each mundane clip unexpectedly sharpened my longing. The cat had carved its way into my world as stubbornly as I'd entered its life. Unable to bear separation, I cut my trip short, key turning in John's penthouse lock. I froze at his coaxing voice. "Want the treat, Chestnut? Say daddy." Mew again. Nicely this time. John shot upright upon spotting me, hastily hiding the cat food behind his back. Crimson embarrassment stained his neck as we stood paralyzed in the foyer. I felt equally awkward, as if I'd accidentally witnessed him cheating with the kitten. John forced himself to explain. The animal behavior specialist suggested pets thrive best in loving environments. They need maternal affection and paternal. His voice trailed off as he squeezed his eyes shut, wearing the defeated expression of someone thinking, "What am I even saying?" I nodded hastily. "Right. Absolutely. I've heard that theory too." The color gradually returned to his face as corporate John reemerged. "Why did you come back early?" he asked, regaining composure. "Missed the cat." I gestured toward the feline behind him. He shifted sideways, revealing Wilson family's cat darting toward me. The living leg attachment followed my every step, periodically tilting its fuzzy face upward to gaze at me with vacant adoration. Cradling the cat, I stroked its fur to process the lingering shock of hearing paternal affection. John claiming fatherhood of this creature was as inconceivable as him wearing drag during shareholder meetings. Terrifying. We both sought refuge, John disappearing to regain dignity while I buried my face in the cat's fur. One thought crystallized through the chaos: could John actually be interested in me? Single coincidences happen. But this pattern. Emily smacked my forehead when I consulted her. You absolute walnut. She scolded before declaring. Simple solution, test him. Her whispered scheme made perfect sense. That Monday evening, I texted as planned. Me, Mr. Wilson. Working late tonight. John, priority matter? Me, my mother scheduled a blind date. Actually dining with Emily. His reply came swiftly, understood. I'll manage Wilson family's cat alone. Emily jabbed her chopstick at his message during dinner. Classic green tea behavior. She snorted, adopting a mock innocent tone. Go enjoy your date. Don't worry about me all alone with our precious baby. She upgraded her assessment after John began sending kitten videos mid-meal, 90% likelihood of interest, now 100% confirmed. As we left the restaurant, Emily gripped my shoulder. I originally supported this. But that man's tactics? You'd get devoured. Surely not that bad? Worse. She insisted. When I protested I don't even want to date him, she paused before grinning. Perfect. You'll destroy him. Full support. John's black Maybach glided to the curb as Emily vanished. He emerged, scanning the surroundings. Where's your date? He asked casually. Though his custom-tailored suit and gleaming wristwatch, worth a condo, screamed calculated presentation. Emergency came up. I shrugged. His how did it go? During the drive sounded studiedly nonchalant. Great success. I answered per the plan, watching his knuckles whiten on the steering wheel. He's great. With excellent qualities, very talkative. Considerate. And caring. Under John's guarded gaze, I added the final words, I like him a lot. His fingertips gripping the steering wheel turned white. Suddenly, it dawned on me, if I wanted nothing to do with John, I shouldn't have tested him like this. The wiser choice would have been to quietly distance myself. But the words were already out, sharp as an unsheathed sword. And John slowly pulled the car over. After a tense silence, he asked, what about the cat? Huh? If you start dating, what happens to the cat? I mumbled. What does the cat have to do with this? Forget the cat. Then, he pressed on relentlessly. What about me? Before I could untangle my emotions, he declared, I'm in love with you. The car's dim interior couldn't dull the intensity in his eyes, restrained yet stubborn. If you date someone else, what am I supposed to do with these feelings? Suspecting his interest was one thing. Hearing it confirmed was entirely different. Regret flooded me. I shouldn't have tested him. Shouldn't have let curiosity push me. Knowing John's feelings changed nothing. I forced a laugh to lighten the mood. I didn't say I was actually going to date him. But you like him, he countered. If you like him, isn't dating inevitable? How delusional was this man about my appeal? Did he think any guy I fancied would automatically reciprocate? That's exactly how it works. He answered my unspoken doubt. So, he continued, how do you feel about me being in love with you? The newly confessed John had transformed into a relentless pursuer, leaving me flustered. I stammered. I don't deserve this. The rejection hung heavy in the air. John sat motionless for what felt like ages. These months we've spent together day and night. His voice cracked. Do they mean less than one meeting with some blind date? He suddenly demanded. Show me his photo. I deflected. He's just average looking. Average looking. John repeated with a bitter smirk. Leaves you waiting alone at night, doesn't sound particularly considerate. He locked eyes with me. Tell me, what does he have that I don't? I had no answer. The conversation had spiraled beyond salvage. Should I reject him outright? Create distance? But John was my boss, my primary and secondary income streams both tied to him. How much distance was even possible? Tentatively, I asked. John, can I resign? His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. After an eternity, he said flatly. The contract requires 1 full year. Breach incurs massive penalties. His lips twitched. The cat adoption agreement, you signed it yourself. I was beginning to suspect elaborate scheming. Then, he cut me off. You're not resigning. You're not moving out. I'll move. He decided. You and the cat stay. That's inappropriate. Not at all. His laugh held no humor. The cat was always for you anyway. Went through hell finding one disobedient enough to keep you engaged. John moved out as he said he would. The cat and I stayed in his luxurious penthouse downtown. Only after he left did I realize how absurdly massive his place was, ridiculously spacious. Chestnut continued her routine of eating and sleeping, though she occasionally exhibited strange behaviors. For instance, she'd bring me John's slippers in her mouth, stare at me with those big round eyes, and meow plaintively as if asking where's daddy? Other times, she'd march into John's bedroom, leap onto the bed, roll around vigorously, then extend her paw invitingly, urging me to join her nap session there. The cat missed John. Truth be told, so did I. A lingering attachment formed from months of coexisting in the space where his presence once filled every corner. The emptiness felt heavier without his shadow lingering in doorways. Yet he'd become utterly inaccessible. When John chose to disappear, not even the hem of his coat remained within reach. No professional overlap. No personal encounters, our recent intimacy might as well have been daydreams. He was avoiding me. Exactly what I'd supposedly wanted. Chestnut's longing grew daily. Her mournful serenades outside John's sealed bedroom door finally pushed me to text him. Ivy, you there? John, what's wrong? Instant reply. I filmed Chestnut's operatic performance at his door and sent it with the caption, "Your daughter misses her dad." Heat crept up my neck as I typed the last word. His response stunned me. Invite your blind date over to pet her then. Speechless. I finally understood what my cousin Emily meant about his psychological warfare expertise. Gnawing my lip, I typed, no blind dates. Silence. I added, no crushes either. The earlier story was fake. More silence. After counting 30 heartbeats, I deployed my trump card, Chestnut misses you. My thumb hovered over typing me too when his message popped up, a voice note. Panting slightly, his baritone vibrated through my phone. Open the door. I'm outside. Turns out John's moving out meant relocating within our skyscraper. By meticulously avoiding shared elevator times, he'd maintained our separation. Father and daughter reunited like star-crossed lovers. Chestnut's purrs crescendoing as she kneaded his sweater with possessive claws. Watching the formerly aloof feline transform into a docile fluffball, I suspected collusion. Staying? I asked, handing him water. His eyes glinted. If you ask me to. The man truly mastered opportunistic advances. Not that he needed my invitation, Chestnut had anchored herself to his lap. Murderous claws ensuring his immobility. Can I interpret this? He stroked the traitorous cat while locking eyes with me. As you missing me too? His triumphant smirk triggered my defiance. Not necessarily. My literature teacher assured me this interpretation holds. He countered, smile widening. I pressed my lips together, refusing further debate. John waited with infuriating calm, periodically glancing up through those unfairly long lashes with looks that could melt glaciers. Eventually curiosity overrode pride. Why me? If he had truly been planning this since the cat, he must have fallen for me before I joined the company. But how? We'd never met before. John contemplated before confessing. The year I started my business. I lived like trash, constantly getting into fights and ending up at the police station. when I was crouched by the roadside looking pathetic. You walked past and gave me a bag of warm roasted chestnuts. Disappointed by this anticlimactic revelation, I blurted, "That's it?" Seemingly perplexed by my reaction. He added, "You wore a blue and white high school senior uniform with a ponytail. So beautiful it defied words." His gaze softened. Love at first sight. When I still looked skeptical, he continued, "That image stayed with me. For years. Whenever it resurfaced, I had to keep reminding myself I did nothing wrong. I just wasn't worthy yet. Couldn't disturb you. Couldn't ruin you." Suddenly he chuckled. "Can you imagine how I felt seeing your resume in HR? In that moment, I genuinely thanked heaven for giving me a second chance." His eyes burned with conviction. "This time, I won't miss it." Silence stretched between us until John, still holding the cat, awkwardly nudged my leg with his knee, our first intentional contact. "If there's no one else you like, could there be even a little room for me?" "Then what happened?" Emily leaned in eagerly. "What did you say?" I didn't answer. What? It felt wrong to say no, but terrifying to say yes. I met her gaze seriously. If I admit liking him, we'd have to start dating immediately. It's too rushed. Emily probed. "What's holding you back?" "His feelings." I twisted my sleeve. "They feel unreal." "That's because you don't understand male obsession." Her tone turned worldly. What they crave but can't have in youth becomes an itch that keeps haunting them, driving their hunger for success. At my puzzled look, she simplified. "Like how you binge eat chips now because Auntie forbade them during childhood." That made twisted sense. Emily suddenly sighed in relief. "Actually, seeing you like this comforts me. I worried a corporate fox like him would outmaneuver you. Turns out, the hunter might become the hunted." Blinking, I asked, "So what now?" "Simple." She shrugged. "Date if you like him. Walk away if not." I chose to date. Returning to John's place, I immediately began packing. Panicking. He blocked my path. "What's wrong?" Mustering courage, I hinted. Wouldn't living together right after starting a relationship be improper? Or what? He froze mid-sentence before joy erupted across his features. Hesitant hope colored his careful reply. "Perhaps, but relationships aren't one size fits all." His arms gradually encircled me. "Besides, Chestnut can't function without you now." The embrace tightened as he buried his face in my hair. "Neither can I." The first dilemma after confirming my relationship with John was figuring out how to break the news to Ethan. After all, I'd vehemently sworn there was nothing between John and me before. Though Ethan had always remained skeptical, his suspicions and my confession were entirely different matters. Under his mentorship, I'd made rapid progress in the project department, often handling responsibilities independently now. I couldn't betray such trust. During a business trip, I resolved to come clean. Flipping through my phone gallery in the car, I showed Ethan pictures of Chestnut. "This is my cat," I said. He nodded. "I know you have a cat. Actually, this is also John's cat." His calm demeanor fractured as he stared at me, eventually exhaling slowly. When I asked what was wrong, he replied, "Just wondering how to answer when people ask what it's like mentoring the boss's wife." "Since when did you become this sly, Ethan?" John grew bolder after our semi-public acknowledgement. He started bringing Chestnut to the office regularly. The moment our tabby entered the building, she'd dart straight to my desk, repeatedly, until even the densest colleague grasped the implications. "Since when does the CEO's cat permanently reside at a junior staffer's workstation?" Our relationship shed its last pretense of professionalism. John began waiting at my desk during closing hours, radiating star quality even while yawning. When someone asked if he'd slept poorly, he grinned. The cat kept me up all night, noisy and scratchy. I pinched his waist. Flushing. Chestnut had been perfectly behaved. Then realization struck, he wasn't talking about the cat at all. Ready to go? He asked. Amusement undimmed as I released him. That night, I decided he could sleep in the cat bed. All ambiguity vanished when John posted our marriage certificate on social media with the caption, "Meet your new boss." Amid the flood of congratulations, we embarked on our next adventure together. Thank you for sharing this sweet journey with us. Your encouragement fuels these stories. Until next time.